Alright, so in this video I'll go over 8 tips that I think everyone should know before they hop into a print-on-demand business. This is based on what I myself and what I've watched other people have struggled with, so hopefully this will give you some guidance on your journey. Let's get into it. So the first thing is set up a business before you actually start. This would be, in my own opinion, would be an LLC or a sole proprietorship. If you have either of those set up, depending on which you choose, that'll make everything just easier because you have the base things set already before you get into it. Because then you can just use those when you are actually doing Etsy. You will be needing to account for your sales and still do all the tax work. Plus, I do think, I'm not sure about this, but I do think that after you sell a certain amount, there will be a requirement that you actually make a business before you actually continue further. So it'd be best to just get those things set before you actually head on with your print-on-demand journey. The second thing is getting help with your taxes. So this, in my opinion, should be the first hire, and it should be hired from the get because it's really hard to do by yourself. Plus, if you make big mistakes, there's a good chance you can actually incur penalties. So having someone that can actually do all of this from the start is usually the best way to go. And one big tip I have when it comes to an accountant or really any relationship with your business is make sure that you're picky with whom you actually choose to have as your accountant, as the communication with the person will be super important. If it's a person that you are comfortable with, that you are having great and easy communication with, that's a really good foundation to actually have a good partnership within your business. So the third thing is copyrights and trademarks. So copyrights can be quite elusive, but they're really not that. If we, for instance, just head to Etsy here and we just search for custom sweatshirt that we searched for on other videos, we can, for instance, see this design here. When someone made this specific design, that means that they hold the copyright to it. So as soon as they actually make the design, they themselves hold the copyright to it. As long as we don't steal anything from anyone else, then you're not infringing on copyright. As long as we're making our own works with inspiration from others, then you will be safe from copyright infringement. Now, when it comes to trademarks is a lot easier to track. So if we, for instance, go here into Etsy again, and we search for, let's search for these ones, for instance, where it says NYU, and we just search for New York University. I use a site called Flying Research. It's the best way to search for trademarks, in my opinion. There's a link in the description if you want to use it. But instead of using USPTO that's been used for years, they just take that database and actually just filter it so it's easy to see what trademarks are actually relevant to your search. So it's the easiest way, in my opinion, to just check trademarks. Now, if we just search for New York University here, we can see that there actually is a trademark for it. Class 25 is for clothing. So when it comes to trademarks, you can't have a trademark for all goods or services. And there's gotta be a specific one. So this one is specifically for clothing. If we just view this to check further info about it, we can see here, yes, the marks consist of standard characters without claim to any particular font style, size, or color, which means that we can't actually say New York University within our designs. So when we encounter like new designs that we want to take inspiration from, if for instance we would want to make a design like this, then we can't because there's a trademark for these specific words. That's how easy it is to just check for trademarks. And the fourth thing to know that I think is good to know when doing Etsy is that you pay up front and then you get paid by Etsy. So let's say that you have an order coming in from Etsy and you want to put that order through on Printify. That means that you have an order that comes in on a Monday. You might put that order through on the Monday or at the latest maybe the day after. Also means that you actually pay for the order up front for the customer and then you get paid afterwards on Etsy. So on Etsy, if you go into Etsy here and then finances and payment settings, we can see here that we have this deposit schedule. We can have it set to every day, once per week, every 2 weeks, or once per month. I have mine set to every day since I do this a lot. That just means that if they push through a payment that's, for instance, happened during the weekend, you receive that the day afterwards. So they push that through on a Monday and then you'll receive that on the Tuesday. I'd highly advise to make sure that the deposit schedule that you actually have set is one that's appropriate for your business. In my opinion, every day is the best way to go. And the next thing that I think everyone should know would be that the design is actually the foundation to both your business and actually the listing itself. So design in this area, since that is, in my opinion, everything when it comes to Etsy. There are lots of other factors that do affect how a listing performs. For instance, like listing images, the offer in and of itself. And that means the pricing, that means if you have returns and exchanges accepted or not, that means if you have a guarantee. All of these things, like as a whole, they make up your offer and they make up your listing itself. But the key thing, if you have a design that nobody wants, no matter how good the rest of the things are, if the design isn't good from the customer's viewpoint, and it's good to make note of that, because a lot of my designs I didn't even like myself, and I still put those up. Those got sales. Then I put up stuff that I really liked, and they either got like a couple sales or no sales at all. So always view this from the customer's point of view. The design is really the anchor to everything. If we don't have the design set, then I'd recommend just fiddling through until you have your design, as that's the key factor to actually driving sales on Etsy with using print on demand. And the best way to do that is something that I've gone over before, and that's by using custom designs, because custom designs in and of itself usually have a higher conversion rate. And plus, if you just write something like just custom text or custom sweatshirt or your text here, some of these listings say, then you're not constrained by any niche, because the customer can put whatever they want on the specific listing. Plus, Etsy themselves, they usually are branding themselves as the home for personalized gifts. Plus, it's very, very girly. So in my opinion, I'd say that they've really marketed themselves as personalized gifts for women. So if you have all those things and just test out designs that way, that's in my opinion, the fast track to getting a print-on-demand business going. And the sixth thing that's super important to know is that packaging is so important apart from the design. If we would rank this, it would be design and then packaging. Packaging would be a clear second. That's super important to have, because if we look at Etsy here, if the thumbnail is incorrect, because this is really what the customer views. They view all of these listings, and then usually they also view only the first page. This means that if the thumbnail is off and the title is off, so let's say that we sell, for instance, a flamingo shirt, but in the listing it says bird shirt. If a person that's looking for a bird shirt sees a flamingo shirt, there's a small chance that they will actually buy it. However, if someone writes flamingo shirt and you sell a flamingo design, then that will make them much likelier to actually purchase the listing itself, since you are showing up with the keywords that they're actually looking for. So having just simple SEO, just stating what you're actually selling in the right keywords, and we have a proven mockup. I do have a process for looking up mockups. I'll use one of these here and I'll just link the video. But having proven mockups with just simple SEO that just says what the listing is, that will definitely raise the bar to having your listings get sales and rank if the design is a good one that's actually selling. And the seventh thing to know is that research is everything on this platform, and really overall with print on demand. So if we just look up which type of design that is actually working, that we want to take inspiration from, if we look what kind of mockups are selling, how the offer looks like for people that are selling huge volumes, all of this is based on research on the platform. So if we just search, for instance, here as I did before with custom sweatshirts, we just look at the types of designs that are selling. If we see several listings with the same type of design, as I've mentioned before in previous videos, just make a list of the elements that are actually selling and then add value to Etsy by just combining stuff that are selling super well on the platform, but you combine it in a way that's new. So just adding value is everything when it comes to just putting designs up on Etsy. But all of that has to be based on research. So making sure that every decision made is based off of what the platform itself gives you. So for instance, we can see here that this type of design, the college varsity font, is working very well. Lots of embroidery listings for sure here. So this one is embroidered and cursive. This one is embroidered and cursive and embroidered. This one is embroidered and the college varsity style. This one is also cursive. I think it's another college varsity font. So I think I went through this in another video, but you can have then just a college varsity font plus a cursive font together, just to bring something new to the platform and add some value. But then those two types of elements together is based off of research. Just looking through Etsy and basing your own decisions off of that. not by personal taste, but by what the platform itself shows and is working. It's also really easy to rush research. I've done that myself before, and that really gives a huge detriment to the long-term growth. In my opinion, not rushing research and just looking through everything that you need through shops that you know are doing very well, that will give you the knowledge to see what actually works, get a sense of what's working, and so that you can add some value to the platform. And the last thing that I want anyone to know, and myself to know in the beginning, is that this takes time and a lot of effort. So my first year was a huge struggle. I earned almost nothing, and I lived off of that. So getting this whole Etsy ball rolling usually takes a while. I'd recommend at least putting in a year, but before you actually are wanting to see some tangible, like real results. It's really important to know your expectations when it comes to this, because what you put in is also what you get out. So if I'd put in just a little effort, I wouldn't have seen that much results. But if I put in everything that I had into it, and that gave me results, which was really shown last year when I did 6 figures in profits. But that comes from a lot of effort. There's just so many small things that you learn along the way. Each day I learn something new by watching YouTube videos, by testing stuff, by experiencing stuff with customers on Etsy. So taking action and just knowing that it takes time and just step by step growing it each day led me to make this a sustainable and good business. But it's just important to know that it takes time. All right, so those were the top 8 things that I think everyone should know before they hop into a print-on-demand business. If there's anything that you'd like me to cover next, just drop a comment down below and I'll do my best to help out. I'll see you in the next one.